My name's Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So if you too are crazy for Daisy, then this is the podcast for you. Or maybe you're the Disney novice just thinking about or really trying to plan your Walt Disney World trip, but at the minute, well, it's more of a tragic kingdom than a magic kingdom. Well, then this really is the podcast for you. Every week, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans from around the UK to share their memories of their magical times. And this week's guest, Michael, is a DVC member.
It would be cheaper as a family to be able to use points rather than paying to go every year.
We'll find out more about Michael's memories and how DVC works if you're somebody who is in the UK who has taken the Disney timeshare. We're also going to be answering your Walt Disney World questions, get the latest news from the parks, and if you are heading over to Orlando soon, all the essential information you need to know to have the most magical time. And make sure you keep in touch with us as well on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. We are at PodMagical. This is the most magical podcast on earth as part of the Secret Recordings Network, here to answer your questions every week on the podcast, regardless of what they are. Hello to Molly, who sent me a message on Instagram, who is actually going very soon to Walt Disney World. Andy, we will be there for Mother's Day. What do they do for Mother's Day in and around Walt Disney World? I've got some bad news for you, because Mother's Day in the UK is in a few days' time, isn't it? Like the 22nd? Well, over in America, they don't have the same date for Mother's Day. In fact, Mothering Sunday, our Mother's Day, is in a couple of weeks' time. Theirs is in May in America, so there won't be anything going on for Mother's Day. Or if you're going in May, then you can have a second Mother's Day in Walt Disney World. Why not? Make the most out of it. Andy, you mentioned on the podcast last week that you could just go straight to your room if you've already got your Magic Band and you've checked in online. How do you know your room? Says Adam. Quite simply, the My Disney Experience app. If you go in there, all the details for your resort stay will be in there once your room is ready. Sometimes you'll get a text actually to say your room's ready. If you go into the app, you'll suddenly see a few extra things in there. So you'll be able to see what room it is. If you've got the dining plan on the app, it'll tell you how many credits are left. You can even check out bus times from your hotel. If you go into the hotel part of your stay on the My Disney Experience app, it's all done. Also, quite a few people have been asking me, when will free dining be launched? I, unfortunately, am not a travel agent, so I don't work for travel agents. I don't have that kind of information, but I would guess soon. I think probably around the time Ant and Dec do their show from Orlando, around that time. It's usually just after Easter when free dining is launched. Here's a tip, though. Start budgeting now. Before you get excited about free dining, go, okay, free dining's on, we're going to get this. Firstly, I always say this, decide how much you would pay for your hotel and how much you would spend on food. Have a look at hotel prices now. Have a look at the menus, what you would eat. Just get a rough idea of how you would spend the money and what it would normally cost you. Because when free dining is out, don't forget, if you want the full dining package for free, you're most likely going to have to stay at a deluxe hotel, somewhere like the Grand Floridian or the Yacht and Beach Club, and that isn't cheap. So, can you stay at a value hotel like Art of Animation or somewhere like that and pay for food as you go along, or even buy the dining plan on top? Do your homework now before you get carried away when free dining comes out, because obviously what is it they say? There's no such thing as a free lunch. Sometimes you might get a great deal, especially if you can go when schools are and stuff like that, but do your maths first. Free dining, as soon as I know it's announced, then I will let you know here on the podcast. If you've got any questions, let me know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we are at PodMagical. Same place to go if you would like to be a podcast guest, like this week's guest, Michael. So, Michael, you're a DVC member, which I really want to find out about on this week's podcast. But first of all, tell me what it is you love about Walt Disney World.
I love Disney because it's just so welcoming and family orientated. As I say, as being a DVC member, they make you feel like you're going home. You're not going home, but you go into another home, and it's just an amazing place to go. And it's so many friendly faces. We've actually managed to meet friends there who are in America and become friends with them through going there, which I don't think we would have ever experienced going anywhere else. No. So
it's that common love of Disney that brings people together as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And as I say, we've met a family from Tennessee, and we've actually been out to see them in Tennessee at their home. So it has brought us a new family as a fact.
Wow,
which
is
a
Disney family.
Disney is. It's makes us into a Disney family. So
you mentioned that you're a DVC member. Now, we've not had a DVC member on the podcast before. And I'm intrigued to find out more. Now, when you think of DVC, you'll have seen them all around the parks and the hotels, the people standing there giving you more information. In a nutshell, it's like a timeshare, isn't it? That's probably the best way to explain it briefly.
It's a timeshare, but it's a timeshare in a strange way you can use all over the world. It's not just Disney related. You can actually use it we could actually use it to book to go, say, to the Canary Islands for a week. It's that vast of a timeshare. You're not focused on one place.
Yeah.
Although when you go and you get introduced to it, you do have a home resort. You are allowed to basically go any Disney park around the world has the DVC where you can go and utilise the point system they have. And we've only really used it in Orlando, but we've utilised it to great ability to be able to go to different hotels, which we wouldn't normally be able to afford to do, to be honest.
Ah, right. This is based on a point system, isn't it? So you buy points and you have a home resort in Walt Disney World.
Yes.
And then when you want to go, 11 months before you want to go, that's when you can book your home resort. And isn't it 7 months out for other resorts at Walt Disney World, then you can book and use your points?
Yeah, so what we tend to do is we will book our home resort for the duration of the holiday that we are going for.
Yeah.
And then at about 7 months out, we then look at our options just before then to see where else we can go, and then we can cancel and modify that so we can go to experience different hotels that, as I say, we wouldn't normally be able to go, so we can mix and match around the various hotels.
So you could stay at different hotels on one trip?
Yes, which is what we always do. We never stay at one hotel. We actually visit quite a few of the Disney hotels and experience as many as we can.
That's quite good, because if you think, we're going to have a couple of days at Epcot, so if we stay at like Boardwalk, we'll stay there for a few nights, or we can stay at Contemporary on the days we want to do Magic Kingdom. So rather than going to the parks from one place, you could actually just move around and then walk to the parks.
Yeah, you just move around, and a really huge advantage with DVC is that it is actually free parking at the hotels. So
right,
that saves you a lot. And it's also free parking into the parks at the moment. So yeah, so we sometimes, rather than use the transport, we have a car and we can drive to the parks rather than using the transport, and we find it easier to get around that way.
So where's your home resort then?
Our home resort is Animal Kingdom.
Oh,
that is where we generally do book for roughly 2 weeks to go every year to start with, and then we move out from there depending on where we fancy staying or where we can get into. So it's really enjoyable that is where we get to go almost every year.
Yeah, I suppose if you're going to go every year, then why not?
We don't have to do the madness of the parks and trying to do 14 days in everywhere. We look at this as we're going to go back year on year, so we can do the parks bit by bit and do a Disney holiday that not many people do, which is we come back more relaxed than when we went.
So how many points do you have, and how many points do you need to get a 2-week holiday every year?
Right, so we have 160 points.
Yeah.
We can have a 2-week holiday at Animal Kingdom Lodge with that in the May time we go. If we go August, where it's like peak season, it generally drops down to about 12, 13 days. So you don't lose out on that much, but yeah, that's enough for us to have a 2-week holiday there.
And how long have you been going as a DVC member?
We signed up for DVC in 2013, so our first year going as a DVC member was 2014. But I've been going a long time before that as well, which is why we fell in love and decided to do the DVC.
And what did you pay for a point? Because I think it's about, $190 a point now if you want to buy a point?
To be honest, I wouldn't be able to exactly tell you how much we paid a point, because it worked out on the fact that we actually financed it with them, which is something that we never thought we could do. So I'm paying it off like a loan back to them.
Yeah.
So rather than looking at it on a price per point, we were just focusing on the fact that you buy these points, you pay your loan off over 10 years, and I've got 45 years worth of holiday staying in Disney, which saves. it saves us a fortune on what we struggle really to do before, but we can do now.
So you've definitely found out it's been worth the money.
It's been well worth the money, to be honest. For what I pay across the year, it's well worth exactly what it is. If the dollar rate was better, it would be even better. When we found out about it, we went and did the obvious tour.
Yeah.
And when we found out they had a financing option, it proved that we could do it and that we would be laying out for a few years, but we looked after that where it would be cheaper as a family to be able to use points rather than paying to go every year.
And in terms of booking your flights, do you always know when to book your flights? Do you book the flights at the same time as you book your accommodation?
Generally, we book our accommodation, and from then we set ourselves a budget on what we want to pay for our flights, because obviously we've been going in May, so when it's school half term.
Yeah.
But we're really fortunate because the school that our kids are at have a 2-week break then.
Oh, perfect.
So, for example, we set ourselves a budget for 4 of us of £1,700, and that's all we pay for 4 of us for our flights.
And what do you do for tickets? Do you just pay on the day? Do you still get the 14-day ticket? Because
we know we're going back year on year, we generally pick a park to go to for that year, and then we pay to go into that park, and then we do something else outside of Orlando where we go somewhere else. So because we have that knowledge that we are going to be going back, we don't need to buy the 14-day ticket. But I do know when we're looking at going back next year, because of everything that's going on, we will be looking at probably wanting to do everything.
So for the 50th anniversary.
A bit more saving up for that one.
That's been a great insight into DVC, because, as I say, we've never had anyone before who's been a DVC member. But I want to find out about you and the first time you went to Walt Disney World. Back with Michael soon after you've had a quick look at the news from the parks. Now, last week over at Hollywood Studios, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway opened. It's had some good reviews. I don't think it's a crazy, massive, big attraction, a great family attraction, and it's got a very catchy theme song called Nothing Can Stop Us Now. It's like the new It's a Small World. It will get in your head. And you can download it. It's available to stream on Apple Music and the Play Disney Parks app. The ride song is really catchy. And if you're heading over to Magic Kingdom soon, over the next few weeks, you know they're painting the castle gold or rose gold. Work has already started on that. There's quite a few cranes around Cinderella Castle at the moment. And finally, if you're still thinking about getting Disney Plus, I know we've got a week and a bit before it launches, 24th of March, the Disney online streaming service. There is a deal on at the minute if you sign up before the launch date for $49.99, but I have spotted if you go through Top Cashback, the Cashback website, they are offering a pre-order purchase of £15 cashback on top of that existing offer. So basically, you're getting Disney Plus for a year for $34.99 if you go through Top Cashback to get the pre-launch deal. Typically, obviously, I'd already signed up before I saw the Top Cashback deal, but never mind if you haven't and you want to sign up for Disney Plus, do it through Top Cashback. There you go, save yourself even more money. Don't forget, you can keep up with all the news, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are at Podmagical. Michael's this week's guest. He is a DVC member and is going to Disney World for a long time. How long? When was the first time?
Right, so the first time I went was in May 1990, when I went with my mum, my dad and my sister. And I remember that we stayed in Kissimmee, and then I remember that we did 7 days there, and then we did 7 days down at St. Pete's Beach.
Okay, yeah.
But to be honest, I don't remember a huge amount about it. It's quite strange that I don't, but I do remember like little snippets of where it was, and I know that like the hotel is still there that we stayed at and things like that. So... And then, that was the first time I remember. So I was 10 then, so not a huge amount of remembrance of what went on. But as I say, I do remember when I went. So,
and you've been back a lot of times since then.
Yeah, so I went twice with my mum and dad, and then the next time I went was I think in 2001 when I went with my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and we've been almost every year since then.
And now you go with your own kids.
And now we go with our own kids. So we had our own special moments. We actually got married at the Buena Vista Palace Hotel across from Disney Springs.
Well, you really are living the Disney life, aren't you?
Yeah, we love the Disney life, so we've made as much of it a part of our life as possible.
Sounds like it. So what is your favourite thing at Walt Disney World? Have you got a favourite ride or attraction or parade? One thing, Michael.
I'm ending up down the stereotypical route of Expedition Everest.
That's fine. It's my favourite as well. It's fine.
It's just the whole experience of it. Even the fact that it's one of them rides where you don't really want to get you don't want to get a fast pass for it because you miss out on everything else beforehand. Like, you walk through like the cabins and it looks like they've got authentic stuff that they've collected from Everest and things
which
like
I think
that.
they have. I think they actually have.
I think they have, yeah, and it's all taken, like the way how the story's portrayed and everything, and you go through the whole story and then you're on the ride. And then I remember when I took my son on it for the first time, and I made sure he never saw any of it online or anything.
Yeah, no, keep off the YouTube.
When it went backwards, it freaked him out, and it was just... It's just amazing. But I know, like, from the other side of it, my wife and my daughter don't like fast rides, so they have different ideas of what they prefer. Like, my wife loves the Haunted Mansion. She thinks it's absolutely great. And then my daughter loves the little rides like Ariel and things like that. So
how old's your daughter?
My daughter's 6 and my son is 11.
So she's at the princess age, yeah?
Yeah, so we bought the DVC points when my wife was pregnant with my daughter because we were looking at ways of how we could keep coming back.
Right, yeah.
This was how, because even the small studio rooms can have 4 people in it. So it does allow you to be able to go backwards and forwards to there.
And that contract you can hand down to them if you wanted.
Yeah, so like my mother-in-law's got some as well, and I know she utilises that and she can share her points if she wants and things like that. So yeah, it's there with you for as long as you want it, really. Yeah, you sign in for 45 years, but I assume come closer to the end, they'll offer me more and offer me to keep it a bit longer and keep it in the family. So.
Yeah. Have you got a favourite resort?
We do love Kidani Village, which is at Animal Kingdom. Yeah. I know some people say that it's quite a big hotel and there's a long ways to walk, but from our side, it's just so relaxing there. It's completely different than any of the others we've stayed at, because it is out of the way as such. And like the kids' pool area there is absolutely fantastic for kids. Like there's probably one of the best water slides there that I enjoy because I become a kid at Disney. So it is. But the other hotel, we have stayed at quite a few, but the other hotel, which quite a lot of people won't know about, is Vero Beach Resort.
Where is this? Over on the Florida coast?
This is on the Florida coast, which is out. It's about an hour and a half's drive from Disney, and it's basically a Disney hotel without having Disney thrown at you. So you get everything like what you want to make you feel relaxed and chilled without having Disney. And me and the family absolutely love it. We probably prefer it more than Animal Kingdom to go to be honest, which tells you a lot about what they can do that's not in the park, that's not part of the Disney bubble as such that you end up in.
But you don't see Mickey Mouse. He doesn't show up there, does he not, at Vero Beach?
You don't. They do like a dine-in option one day on a Saturday, so you can meet some of the characters, but that's the only time they're there. So everything else is it's just like a beach resort. And the irony is, one of my favourite memories happened there, where the turtles come up on the beach to lay their eggs, and my son went down, and they've got the Disney conservation there, and he was able to put in on the iPad where the eggs were and lay it all out and mark it out and everything with them, and they get it involved as everybody involved in it who goes down to the beach in the morning, and it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that Disney resort.
No, and as I say, yeah, it's one of their conservation areas as well. So it is, as I say, it is an amazing place. It's Disney, but not Disney as quite a lot of people would expect.
What about restaurants? Have you managed to eat at quite a few restaurants around the Walt Disney World, in the hotels and in the parks? Have you got a favourite?
One of the favourite ones is Ohana's for breakfast. We've been with Stitch and that, and it's just so welcoming and fun. And the ham and pineapple there is, I don't know whether you've had it or not, but it's absolutely delicious. And we've tried to cook it here and we just can't get it exactly how it is. It is just amazing. And the fact that it is a character breakfast and it's an all you can eat and you stay sat at your table, they just bring it to you. If you just ask for more, they'll keep bringing it and bringing it and bringing it, which is just great. But we went to a restaurant last year which was Storybook Artist Point. It's in Fort Wilderness.
The Snow White and the Wicked Queen and two of the dwarves.
You get to go and go up and have your foot picture taken with the Wicked Queen, and she doesn't come round to the tables. You have to actually go up to her because it's like, if you want your picture taken with me, you come and have your picture taken with me. I'm not coming around and being the. Not coming around being the pretty princess. I'm being the character, the diva who you're gonna. And I know my wife there loved the poison apple cocktail. She just found it absolutely amazing, to be honest.
Right, put that on the list, the poison apple cocktail. What about a planning strategy? With DVC, do you still get the 60-day fast passes and the things like that?
Well, the thing with how we plan, unfortunately, we only tend to hit one park while we're there. So we only have the ability to buy our ticket when we get there. We find it very difficult to find where you can buy one park ticket.
Yeah, it's difficult in this country to get 1 or 2 days, isn't it? I don't know why that is. Yeah.
And I've looked around at different things and I found where you can get 3 days is probably the minimum I've found.
And where's that from?
It was I think it was an Orlando attraction website.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, we in a strange way go in there to relax. And it sounds really strange. We chill out around the pool, we relax. We have 1 day in a theme park and we hammer that park from when it opens to when it shuts.
Get your money's worth.
Get our money's worth. And then we may do a water park, something like that. So our planning is almost... It's not as existent as what quite a lot of people do, where our strategy is we'll look at when the extended hours are for the park we want to go, and then we'll utilise that park and pick that day to go to that park. Yeah. It's kind of what we can get from it, and then the rest of the time we are just relaxing and chilling and enjoying what Disney can offer with around the other hotels and things like that.
Anything else you'd like to do in Orlando? Do you go to any of the other theme parks, or is there anything else in and around Orlando that you do?
We go to Kennedy Space Center. We've been there quite a few times because my son's all into space and things like that. So he enjoys that. We've been to Sarasota quite a few times. We find the beach there a bit quieter than what you'd get at St. Pete's. So we go down there, but we have done quite a bit of travelling. It's allowed us to do quite a bit of travelling around Florida. So we've been to like the Keys and places like that and spent a few days down there while on a Disney holiday when we come back. So and then one other place that I would, if people do have a car, recommend is going to Celebration, which is like Disney's little town. Yeah,
we had somebody mention this just a couple of weeks ago, and I've never been.
The best way I think to describe it is it's like a scene off Desperate Housewives everywhere. I think that's how my wife described it. And we went onto the front, and they've got like a lake, and they've got like an old style cinema and ice cream shops, and you can just wander around it, and it They have like little markets going on and things like that. It's a lovely place that's like, it's literally 10 minutes from Disney that you wouldn't know were there unless somebody mentioned it, I don't think, because it's not really, it's signposted, but you'd never think what it was.
Next time we go and we've got a car, I do need to go and investigate.
Yes, I would, very much.
Having been since the 90s, is there anything that's no longer at Walt Disney World that you miss?
It depends how long ago you go back, but they used to do free entry for people who stayed at the hotels to the parks.
Wow, bring that back.
Yeah, that is something that I know it was something that, if you stayed at a Disney hotel, you got free entry to all the parks.
Wow.
Which obviously they don't do now, unfortunately.
No.
But that was something. And then I do miss the Lights Motor Action Stunt Show.
That is now
Hollywood
Star Wars.
studio.
Yeah, that's Star Wars land now, isn't it?
Star Wars land now, yeah.
But then they still have it over in Disneyland Paris.
We went to Disneyland Paris once, but obviously with going to Orlando, we find it a completely different experience. So we just found it a lot warmer in Orlando, to be honest.
For sure. Next trip, May?
May, yes.
You already booked in?
Already booked, everything booked in. I'm not staying at Animal Kingdom this time. We are going down to Vero Beach for 7 nights. And then we're going back to the Polynesian resort.
Oh, great.
Done the Polynesian, and we've done Bay Lake Tower, which is amazing if you get a theme park view.
Yeah.
Vero Beach, and then back to the Polynesian for 5 nights to end our holiday, and then I think we've decided to go into Magic Kingdom this time because I've managed to get into the Beast Castle for tea, into the Be Our Guest restaurant, and I've always tried to book it and I've never been able to, so it's weird that I've been able to this time. So my wife's extremely happy that she's able to go because it's her favourite Disney film. So
it's a dream to be in there, and all that's booked with DVC points, the Vero Beach and Polynesian.
Yeah, all booked with points, and I've got some that I can bank for next year as well. So
all right, so you can have a bit longer trip next year.
So a bit longer next year if I want. Yeah, so
it's been a fascinating insight into how DVC works in a completely different way of doing Walt Disney World, of which you will do for the next how many decades?
Next 3 decades,
yeah,
so I can't really complain.
Lovely talking to you, Michael, and have a magical day.
All right, you too, Andy.
Heading over to Orlando soon. Weather's pretty decent, actually. Mostly dry, high 20s, low 30s is what you're getting. Crowds can be quite busy. A lot of schools are on spring break. So over the next few weeks between now and Easter, you can expect some very busy times over at the theme parks. If you're heading over to Epcot, the Flower and Garden Festival is on. Obviously, you've got the topiaries and all the flowers. There's food booths. There's also live music as well over at the American Pavilion. Starship Play 13th through the 16th, followed by Mark Willis, and then the Spinners 24th through to the 26th over at Epcot. Meanwhile, over at Hollywood Studios, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Train is now open. You can get a fast pass for that. You still can't get fast passes for Rise of the Resistance. That's a boarding group situation where you have to be in the parks before it opens. Your entire party has to be in there. And the second that the park officially opens, you need to be on that app. You need to get into a boarding group, and they go within the first minute of the park being open. I hope they've sorted that out when I go in September, because I've just seen videos of people trying to get on the Rise of Resistance and get in the boarding groups, and just watching them sends me into sheer panic. Up the road at Universal, they've got the Mardi Gras event taking place this weekend. Live music from Louis Fonsi, All American Rejects and Diana Ross. Next weekend, Chris Young and Earth, Wind and Fire and Marshmello play Universal. As I've mentioned in previous podcasts, these concerts happen with regular theme park teachers. You don't need a particular ticket to see them. They're just performing there. Gets really busy. Over at Epcot, if you want to do the Garden Rocks, there's somebody you want to see there, you can do a dining package for that. If you're on the dining plan, that's 2 credits. Also as well, of course, it's St. Patrick's Day weekend this weekend, and they do quite go for it, especially over at Walt Disney World. So Raglan Road at Disney Springs is where you want to go, because that's the Irish pub. And also on St. Patrick's Day, expect the British pub over at Epcot, the Rose and Crown, to also get quite busy. And there's quite a bit of St. Patrick's Day merchandise around at Disney World. You can get your little leprechaun Minnie and and Minnie's in some of the merchandise shops. Andy's top tip of the week this week, as I've mentioned, it's the Food and Wine Festival going on right now at Epcot. There's a lot of festivals at Epcot. My top tip of the week this week is avoid Epcot at weekends when there's a festival on, particularly Fridays and Saturday nights during Food and Wine. Particularly, especially if you've got kids, it gets really busy. It can get quite rowdy. So, especially with kids, when there's a festival, Epcot weekends can be really crowded. A little bit leery of Friday and Saturday night. Any top tips of your own, let me know. We're on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, Podmagical. Same place to go if you want to be a podcast guest, or if you're at the parks, tag us in your pictures, tag and brag. We love to share them on our social medias. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. We're here with a new episode every Friday, so hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And until next time, please stand clear of the doors.